Hello, my YouTube world. Today I want to introduce to you a new series that I want to do. I think it's much needed. We're going to call this series High Efficiency Mowing. How about it, baby? How about it? How about this series? I'm going to introduce the series here, and we got another series going on. I'm going to try to make about 7 episodes of that. It's called I changed the name of my other series. Instead of the Johnny Mowing Way, we're going to call it It's Mow Time. So we got that series going. I haven't got any footage lately because we've just been behind. But I'm going to get some footage. And so we're going to call the series High Efficiency Mowing. Right now, we're in the throes of the grass is just about to take off through the roof up here in the Northeast. Probably from Central Ohio all the way over to Massachusetts. I would consider that, the prime cool season grass zone down in West Virginia. But what I want to talk to you about is becoming very efficient at mowing grass, being very efficient at what you're doing. Now, this is going to encompass probably 4 or 5 different video series, but we're going to touch on, what to do when the employees arrive. What to do if you're solo, if you're thinking you need employees, what should you be looking at right now? See, if you need employees and you're solo right now and you're thinking about taking that jump and that leap to the next level, what is it that you can be doing right now? If it was me, I'd be mapping out my lawns. What does it look like with John Smith with me now? Does he start weed eating first? Does he start, do we have him push mow in the front? I'm in the back, first one done. What's it look like when you've got a couple guys in the truck? Woo! Again, 19 years experience on this. This could be a fun series, man. And listen, I don't mean to take the name of somebody on here like Toes Stepped or something like that. He's one of my subscribers. His name is like Toes Step or something. And but this series is going to challenge you. It's going to challenge your mentality. It might even offend you a little bit, but that's a good thing. You need to be offended sometimes. You need to relook at what you're doing. When we're adding employees, guys, and you're mowing grass, this is very important. It can't be sitting around playing around. You got to know what you need to make. You need to know how much leeway you have, because it's real easy to be sitting around. And the worst thing, and I'll give you this little tip right off the bat, one of the worst things that you can do when you have a crew, say you and 2 others or you and another, is to have someone especially when you got 2 others, while you got 2 people sitting in a truck while one's blowing off. Or you got a person sitting in a truck and you've got 2 people blowing off. You want to try to map out your stuff so efficiently that everyone's finishing right around the same time. Like, hey, Joe Blow, you're going to weed whack that section. I'm going to cut the back section. You're going to go, Mr. Smith, you're going to cut the front section. When he's done, when John Smith's done, you want him coming back, grabbing a blower and going right behind the weed eater guy. And then you want to be able to load the trailer up, get in the truck, mark the books, everyone's getting it, and going to the next one. This is the most efficient way to do it. I have found that it's for me anyway, with my pricing structure, to have me and 2 other guys in the truck. The only time I do that is when I'm severely backed up, because sometimes that little bit of time savings is well worth it. Oftentimes I just run me and another guy, and the reason is because I've known over the years that 3rd guy is costing me more than it's helping me, unless I'm in a time crunch. That's when it helps out right there, is when you're in a time crunch and you got to do a bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about some numbers. What are some realistic numbers you can turn in a day? This series is going to be an encompassing series. But high efficiency mowing is where it's at. You're getting going. When you get into a development, you're like bang, 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 bang. And, we're going to talk about some other things in this series. I'm introducing this series right now, giving you a little taste of what we're going to talk about. Other things that we're going to talk about in this series is, I'm in this one development, and it's kind of like a secluded development. So you would make a right into the development. That right is the only way in and out. And So there's about 5 or 6 companies in there. And I'm looking, I have 4 lawns. My friend has 4 lawns. Another guy has 2. Another guy has 3. And so I'm looking at all of the competition that's in there. And this would be a development that people would go and flyer. And I'm sitting here and I'm pondering this thought. And this thought is, how in the world are you going to, is your flyer going to get my accounts or get my friend's account who has 4? I just, we need to really consider, this is a very high-end neighborhood, very high-end, in a high-end part of town. We got 4 or 5 companies, and I just don't know how that is going to work. Like, how does that work? Are you going to be able to break into that neighborhood? Honestly, you're not getting my customers. I mean, you can come in $10 lower. And for them to move from me to go to you, an uncertain, people just don't have time to do a new way of doing things. Now, could you get my customer if I severely screw up? Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely. But these established companies that are in there, and I'm looking at their lawns. They look pretty good. I'm not sure I could do a much better job than the guy next door. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how in the world could you get in here and do some damage outside of maybe some other people wanting to get lawns? And so we're going to take a look at the marketing. We're going to take a look at neighborhood saturation. And, that is a key to things. We're going to talk about real numbers. I mean, the numbers that are possible from solo to 2-man to 3-man. I've never run a 4-man crew. If I did, I probably paid the homeowner to cut their grass if I did that. And again, I want to caveat all this by saying this. This series is going to be based on my experience in a town that is impoverished for the most part. It is there's not a lot of high-end lawns where you're going to get $500-600 a cut or something like that. A lot of the lawns are going to go between in the lowest part of town, you're talking about 15 to 20. If you're 25, you're not getting these lawns. The other part of the neighborhood, you can get about 20 and 30. 20, you get a lot of those lawns. At 30, at the higher part of the neighborhoods, you're 25 to 35. 35, you're outbidding yourself there. And then once you get out into the outskirts, into the townships, you can go from 30 all the way up to about 75. You can grab a couple $600 lawns, if you know the people who need the grass cut and have a lot of exposable income. So I want to give you the market range, and there's only 92,000 people in the county, period. So out of that, there's only a small portion that actually has any work done, and it's even smaller your cut because of the competition that you have from out-of-towners to the growers. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about high-efficiency mowing, everything that goes into it. I can give you a couple tips just to give you a little teaser. The best way to make maximum money is to keep the mower that makes the most money and is the fastest going at all times. I can tell you right now, I run my 60 and we get in the neighborhoods, it's boom, boom, boom. It's more efficient, actually, to have someone weed eating and blowing off behind you while you're just knocking out the lawns. Maybe push mowing a little bit of an area here or there. It's more efficient to do it that way than actually have 2 Zs consuming 2 amounts of gas and just running. It's faster to have So what I want you to do is, just for the teaser, I want you to think, what is your most productive mower on your fleet? That's the mower you want mowing at all times. Everything else you can figure out. You know what I mean? So in that case, which mower is the fastest and you want it running? Like on my 60, it runs probably, I've clocked it at a little over 12, sometimes a little under 12. It goes. I can cut 8-9 mile an hour with it in the right circumstances. You're not going to do that you know, in the dewy in the morning, you're just going to shoot clumps everywhere. Actually, we have a bagger for it, so we don't really worry about that too much. That's some of the things you got to think about. What is the fastest mower that you have? And we'll talk about morning cutting versus afternoon cutting. This is going to be a great series. So first off, homework right away. Johnny Mow homework, baby. We're talking about high efficiency mowing. What's your fastest piece of equipment? What makes you the most money? And, you know, another thing is how much did that piece of equipment cost you? You do not want a $10,000 mower sitting on a trailer while you're push mowing a $25 lawn. When you first get started, that's fine. You know, that's cool. I understand all that. But listen, if you can get a 52 or whatever your piece of equipment is on, get it on. And we're going to go over some tips, some tricks, and reasons why I use Z's over walk behinds and you know, standers. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like standers. We'll go over some of those. And, you know, but this could be a good series. Tune in. Maybe 4, 5, 6 video series. I don't know. But this is where we want to go with it. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Turning the most profit, making the most money. And don't forget, I will announce it. One of these videos will have realistic numbers of what you can do in a day. And that's coming from a guy that's been solo and has, listen, when I say top of the line, we're talking about the monsters. We're talking about the top of the line equipment. And we can run and gun with this stuff. So I have a pretty realistic idea of how stuff can get done. Okay? We're not talking about some little rookie here. You know what I'm saying, guys? All right, baby. It's time. Get ready. This week, we're going to do our first video on high efficiency mowing. Can't wait to do it, guys. Have fun.